Hello and welcome everybody. In this episode we'll be discussing, well, not really discussing, more or less going over the time for AI busters. So, yeah! It's not going to be full of detail because it is a novel. That's right. It's not anime, it's not a game, it's a novel. So, I can't go over every single thing and I don't want to ruin it. That is because, well, actually, I will probably be ruining it, so spoiler warning! That's it! That's all you're getting. If you complain later, I don't care, because I told you spoiler warning twice now. So, AI Buster starts out with the CC Corp administrator for the debugging team, known as the Cobalt Knights, arrives at Hilgaron's Cathedral in, the Delta server for the Hidden Forbidden Holy Crown, and all over the place, there are the knights standing guard at different posts, making sure that nobody can escape and nobody can get in other than CC Corp administrators. And in between all of them is, well, this one AI girl that resembles a red-dressed version of Aura. That is because her name is Lycoris, and she kind of is a failed version of Aura. So, as CC Corp administrators, they are charged with, debugging and the elimination of AIs. So, they try to delete this AI girl, and they think they succeed, so they let their guards down. As Alberio, the captain of the CC Corp's debugging team, or I should just start calling them the Cobalt Knights, is questioning one of the knights that is under his charge, and finds out that they really didn't go over any of the information or the specs or anything like that, and starts, scolding them for not learning any of the information for that area before their mission got started. That is when he noticed a reflection in the ground, which was, well, Lycoris hovering above them. But because the knights had let down their guard, she managed to escape, but not before being hit by Alberio's debugging weapon, his Divine Spear of Wotan. Then something odd happened. She split into different segments and was scattered throughout the world. Shortly after that, though, he managed to find her once again in the bottom of a dungeon. But she couldn't speak, she couldn't hear, she couldn't see him, or even have any of her memories. So, when he agreed to take her to the God statue at the very bottom of the dungeon, he got an odd file with a odd file extension to the end. Then she started asking him for that particular file. Once she got the file, she thanked him with her voice, using his actual name, which kind of freaked him out a little bit. And then she warped him to his house in Makanu, because you can rent apartments. Once there, he then got the attention of Hokuto, which it was a newbie player while he was sitting down on his balcony. He also got the attention of Orca and Balmung, who, like Hokuto, was more interested in his weapon than anything else, because it had been something nobody had, they hadn't seen before. Balmung being one of the, beta testers, and pretty much knew a bunch of the different weapons. Pretty much all of them. Between, Orca and Balmung, they knew them all. And that particular weapon, they didn't know. So, while in his apartment, he heard a knock on the door, and there was Hokuto, asking for help, because apparently an event had started that allowed monsters to storm into the town of Makanu, and she was getting beaten on by a couple of goblins. And since her character was brand spanking new, she couldn't really do anything to defend herself, except heal herself and keep herself alive. So when Alberio actually opened the door to find out that, yes, indeed, she was being attacked because he didn't believe her at first, Lycoris kind of dragged him outside of his own apartment. And then he started getting attacked by two other goblins. So he attacked and killed all three goblins with one attack. After a slight altercation between the two of them, he said something that he would later regret. He called her avatar cute. So then Lycoris told him to defeat the boss monster, the boss event, or the event boss, I should say, whatever. And he proceeded to go on and do that by attacking it by himself, whereas everyone else was being wiped out that got even near it. Once the boss was finished and killed, he got another item that had a strange name with the same strange file extension. Once again, she started pleading with him to give her the item, and he did that. And once that he did, nothing seemed to change about her. She didn't really say very much, but he had to blow off Orca, saying that he was busy at the moment, and went past him back to his apartment where Hokuto was still standing. While there, she basically blackmailed him into, sending a party invite and exchanging member addresses by saying that she'd report him for sexual harassment. Horrible stuff like that. Yeah. Since he didn't want that on his record, he kind of relented and did it, and then she forced him to take her shopping for his apartment because all he had was a chair. And if it was going to be her hangout now, which she claimed, she wanted to decorate. And decorate she did by spending almost all of his gold. And shortly after finishing the decorations, however, Balmong and Orca started knocking on his door, and Alberio thought, oh great, what now? So when he opened the door, he started talking to Orca and Balmong, and they mentioned that they wanted him to join up with them for the One-Sin event. Since Alberio knew that the One-Sin event was not something that you talk idly in the open, he invited them into his apartment so that they could talk. After they had their conversation about their plans for the One-Sin, Alberio then basically told them that he was busy at the moment and that there was nothing that he could do to actually help them. So instead of just taking that no just up front, he was still given an open invitation to show up, because he was given the time, he was given the day, which would be the following day in the early morning. So when he was about to log off after, or actually I should probably say when they started questioning him about his weapon, at first he didn't want to talk about it. But shortly after Balmong said that he hoped that wasn't a cheat item, he then told them that the spear's name was the Divine Spear of Wotan, and that he asked them to keep what he was about to tell them later in confidence, and they agreed. What he told them was that it was a relic of fragment, and that since it was a relic of fragment, that he didn't want too many people pestering him about it. And both Balmong and Orca agreed, and Hokuto herself was actually kind of excited because her original character she beta tested the game with and still had, just like Alberio and Balmong did. Later on, when Alberio tried to log off after he said his goodbyes to Orca and Balmong, he found out that he couldn't log out. But he could take his FMD off and, just go take a nap. Hokuto had actually commented that maybe it was because Lycoris didn't want to let Alberio go, which pretty much was the case, because she had been holding his hand the entire time at that point. The following day, this whole thing takes place over the course of like a 3-day period. So from the time that he first meets her in Hildebrand's Cathedral to the time the story ends, it takes place over the course of 3 days. So on the third day, he says to Lycoris, "Let's go, Lycoris," and she asks him where they're going. This is the first time that she's ever responded to him in such a way. And he told her the location, and she warped him directly to the field from his apartment. And lo and behold, standing there was Hokuto, who had been waiting in her, skimpy attired bikini bathing suit in a snow-covered field, which looked really, really odd. But that's the way her character looked. She was a witch. The two of them hid and waited for Orca and Belmont to show up, and when they did, proceeded to go on about, trying to get to the center of the map where the one sin was. Hokuto had accidentally somehow triggered one of the magic portals and gotten herself killed. And Alberio said it would be a waste of a resurrection scroll if he used it on her because she would just get killed again. So it forced her to stay in party chat so both Orca and Belmont could concentrate and they wouldn't know that he was there. After a while, the one sin was defeated by Orca and Belmont, and then they were able to, get their titles later on, but as an angel ascended into the heavens after being freed from, captive fallen angel, like the field, that's the field's name was, Lycoris says to Alberio, "Please find my feather." And he's looking around, and the only feather he finds that is unusual is one red feather, which he picks up, and by this time, he now knows what the name of it is, and it's I.CYL. So, he then figures out what the other ones are, and he now learns the actual code. They're all relevant to Lycoris, they're all her senses. So, when he gives it to her later in a different field, that he takes her to a nice sunny field or whatnot. Or, no, actually it's the other way around. Lycoris gets the item, then she takes them to the field, and in that field there is a water spirit, which, if you throw a piece of item in, like a piece of gear, like a weapon or item, it pops out, asks you if you dropped a golden axe or a silver axe. If you say neither, it gives you an item, better level. So, when they get to it and he's explaining this to Hokuto, Lycoris asks Alberio if she can trust him to see things through to the end. When he says yes, she jumps into the pond. When the water spirit pops up, does its usual thing, he answers neither. It gives a concerned look. It says that it can't do anything with an item of that level, and then it gives him something like a consolation prize in return. And by this time, he's already learned what it is, and it's Lycoris' memory. At this point, he then takes Lycoris and Hokuto to Hildegrand's Cathedral in Hidden Forbidden Holy Ground, where he is about to finish this quest that Lycoris has created. By killing Lycoris, however. It's at this time when he finally gives her her memory back, she realizes who he is, that when he goes to attack her, that he starts seeing a memory of hers playing out. It is one just before the knight showed up, where he sees, from her perspective, what looks like an image of Harold sitting down in an upside-down chair. She explains to him that that is God. That is what she calls God, and God has a name, and it's Morgana Modgan. And this is the first time CC Corp, or anyone in CC Corp, has learned about Morgana Modgan. They didn't know about it up until this point. After the memory plays out, while impaled on Alberio's spear, she initiates the delete function in his spear and kills herself. Because she realizes that she's a failed experiment and that Morgana would continue to tell Alberio and the Cobalt Knights exactly where she is. No matter where she goes, for as long as she's around, because Morgana doesn't want her around, because if she is around, it would cause a faster growth in aura, and Morgana does not want that. At that point, he then is warped to another field altogether, where he's standing in front of a flower, which happens to be a Lycoris in a field, which basically symbolizes her desire to have become a wallflower for some reason. I don't know. There was significance and meaning to it that anyone could probably see. But as I'm just bum rushing the story, you might not get that. Like I said, it's a suggested reading material. But after he finishes that, he is approached by one of his underlings that he once invented and cleared. He tells his underling that he does know about that, And then he's asked if he knows about the posting by the web poet of W.B. Yeats, who posted about the finishing of the Onsen event, which he then didn't know about. He then commented that W.B. Yeats is either a man or a woman who likes to play as a newbie character, that way they can get the juicy stories. But upon reading the posting, he actually realized just that he had been traveling with W.B. Yeats, the web poet of the world. And it pretty much finishes off after that with Alberio just logging out for, that particular story. The next story that takes over is .hack sign, and then you also have Wotan's spear, which also takes over from that point as well. If you do get .hack AI Busters, I highly recommend that you also get .hack AI Busters 2 and read the first story of that, because the first story parallels the first volume of AI Busters, but it's from the perspective of Hokuto, so you get a better understanding of who Hokuto actually is. Then, of course, you have Wotan's Spear, which takes place during the time of Sign, the very, very early parts of Sign, where it's like Tsukasa running around, doing their own thing. But the rest of the stories all take place between the end of .hack Quarantine and the beginning of .hack Legend of the Twilight. So it does give information for various things like that. I kind of hope you like this bum rush version of what I just did. So let me know in the comment section below. Take care. Bye, everyone.